All right, everybody, welcome. Today I'm joined by Jeff Quintin from the Quintin Real Estate team. Are you still the Quintin super team out there?
We're the Quintin group now. When I came to KW, I had to change the identity a little bit. So I got rid of my name out of it. I got the Jeff name out of it. Instead of the Jeff Quintin Real Estate super team, we went to just the Quintin group.
Gotcha.
So that's where we're at.
Well, anybody who hasn't been living under a rock in real estate knows exactly who this guy is. Out in Ocean City, New Jersey, dominates that market out there. So, Jeff, appreciate you being on today.
Aaron, thanks so much, man. I appreciate being here. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, why don't you start off by telling everybody out there how you kind of got started in the real estate business?
Sure. So, I've been around for a while. I'm kind of the old, I used to be young. I used to be the young guy in the office, right? I used to be the new kid around the block. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how time flies, but basically, right out of high school, I graduated high school in 1990. Got in the real estate business after failing the test like 4 or 5 times back in the day in 1992. So right out of high school, right into the real estate business. But prior to that, in high school, I worked in high school, after high school, or after school. I worked at a bank, and the first job was in the loan department upstairs. So I used to run home after school. I had to put a tie on, a nice shirt, and run to the bank. Be there by 3:00, work 3 to 6, and then from there, loan department. Didn't really like it. Felt like I was in a claustrophobic box upstairs. Yeah. Graduated high school, went full-time upstairs. Job opportunity came up at the drive-through as a teller. I was like, you know what? I want to be out in the public. Went and got the drive-through job back then on Fridays. The cars would line way up, around the corner because that's where people used to do. They used to get their paychecks and come and actually cash them. They actually got checkbooks back then.
Right.
And there's drive-through, right? They actually went to the bank. Anyway, in the process, what inspired me was was making, I don't know, back then, whatever it was, $5, $8 an hour, whatever it was, getting $300 a week checks. And I would see these realtors come through with their commission checks that were $3,000. And there was these young dudes rolling in there with Porsches and Benzes and looking all fresh and cool. And I'm looking at my check and looking at their checks as I'm cashing. And I'm like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Inspired me to get in the real estate business. So I went and interviewed and went to real estate school, interviewed with a couple of brokerages, and then it just launched from there. But I never went to college. Went right into real estate at age 19, and jumped in full force.
Wow. Well, it's worked out great for you. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. 26 years.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, I know you. I know your team since making the move. I mean, you started over there at Prudential, right? Now you're at KW.
Yeah. So originally, back in the day, when I first started, it was a company called Hager Real Estate. And that was kind of the independent, almost 45-50% market share at the local market I'm in now. Yeah, they crushed it. That's where that was the place to go. So I got a job with them. And then in 2003, they were bought out by Prudential, and then Prudential bought them. And then I stayed in the same office, same crew, same location, same everything. And then I guess 2006, Berkshire came in and bought Prudential. And then from there, ran that all the way through until 2016, left Berkshire, and then came to KW.
Wow. I know since joining KW, you kind of expanded the team. So what geography currently are you covering?
So we cover the kind of the main hub market at the home base market is in southern New Jersey, which consists of the Jersey Shore or the beach, areas, which runs from Brigantine, New Jersey, which is near Atlantic City, all the way to Cape May, which is the bottom of New Jersey along the coast. So all those coastal cities along there, and these are all islands. So everybody, I live on a 7 mile long by 1 mile wide island with 11,000 people year round. Then you have to jump over a bridge to the next island, jump over the bridge to the next island. So there's the mainland side, which is over a bridge, and that's kind of like the primary home area that has different population. Then there's a secondary resort market. So we work not only the coast of, say, Brigantine to Cape May, all the secondary resort markets, and then we also the mainland side, once you go over the bridge as well. So it's kind of 2 separate markets completely, but that takes care of anywhere about a 40-mile radius, I'd say, between going north to south and then going from east to west a little bit inland. That's our primary kind of market where we work, and then we've expanded into the Philadelphia region, which is about 60 miles from Center City to where I live there. Where I live to Center City is about 60 miles, and then we work the 5 suburbs basically of Philly. And then on both sides of that bridge of Philadelphia coming in New Jersey, so we cover like the Cherry Hill market, Philadelphia Center City. We've actually expanded into Wilmington, Delaware as well. So that's all about 60 miles radius of Philadelphia.
That's awesome. Well, knowing you, I mean, being an ambitious guy, where's the next expansion? What's the next market that you're going to be hitting?
Right now, well, look, I think like you and like everybody else. I mean, I'm not so much attached anymore to a location. I'm more attached to the talent that's going to take us there and build it with us.
Yeah,
So if the right opportunity comes along with the right people, we'll go anywhere. We are in discussion right now with agents anywhere from Austin to right now Series One in Sarasota, Florida. But ultimately, when I look at the vision, when someone says to me, "Okay, where are you going to?" The primary focus and the easiest and the natural flow is the Philadelphia market first and suburbs around there, and continue to build the hub out here as we go. Because we're 40-mile radius here, so I can still spread out and expand even my hub home kind of slash market, but also go 60 miles out in the Philadelphia market. So our goal right now, and that they call it region number one, is to build out 40 agents, 40 expansion partners that on average will be doing 2 transactions each. So it'll be a 480 transaction business in region one, then continue to build out naturally to expand to the southern region, which would be like North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, because what we know is that most people aren't moving and retiring to New Jersey or Philly.
sure.
The Philadelphia and New Jersey people are retiring and moving south and East Coast with us in alignment. They're going to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida is where they're going. So we're saying to ourselves, all right, well, if there's natural extension or natural expansion, we're going to sell their primary home, in the Philadelphia area, and we're going to sell them their second home in Florida when they retire. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the connection of the two, the East Coast, northeast, going south, north to south.
That's a smart strategy. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we've kind of figured out. It's an easier, it's a natural way.
Sure. So now that we
Yeah.
know kind of what the goal is, what was Jeff? What was last year's production, transactions, and volume for the team in all markets?
So last year we were about just like 75 million, around 213, I think, transactions or so was
Wow.
a total. And that was getting, that was it's a good year for us. I mean, it was coming over from transaction year from the previous before it. And then this year we're tracking our goal is 300 with 100 million and 3 million GCI, and we're currently at 203 already. And so we're tracking to be there. 220 of that would be at our hub, and another 80 that to be an expansion.
Oh,
So
that's
the
cool.
300 would be the total. Yeah, that's our total, right? That's the way the breakdown is right now. And ultimately, if everyone hits goal, we'll actually exceed it. We'll be at 330. Ultimately with a target of hitting 300. That's kind of what with the way it is sits now with the existing agents that are there.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Well, I know we always talk about GCI. We talk about, the number of transactions in the business and all that stuff. I'm a pretty bottom line kind of guy, especially in my real estate business. What was the percentage that you took to the bottom line last year out of that 75 or, what was your GCI last year?
Yeah. So last year we were at around a million total close. We're at 2.1 closed and around 1,000,008 closed.
1,000,008. Okay. What did you
And
take to the bottom line?
yeah, so last year our net profits we're usually running around 30. No, I'm sorry. Go back here. We're going off of 2017 numbers.
17. Yeah.
Yeah. Second.
Put you on the spot. This is showing we
No,
don't.
it's all good because I know my
Yeah.
numbers. But
Yeah.
yeah, basically, and this was so we were roughly just under a million, around 950, 975 in that range on a percentage. We've been averaging right now, like when we build this out right now at the 3 million GCI, our goal is to be at a 38%. So we're going to be just around a million to total net profit.
That's a good business. That's a really good business.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been lean. I mean, and I've, in previous years, I've done a whole lot more. I mean, I've done, I mean, again, like we talked about before, as far as when I first started out was small. I mean, our biggest years as far as profit and numbers, this is back in, we're 2004, 2005, and it was a market driven because of sales prices, but we were
Yeah.
doing 200 deals back then we're doing 200 deals back then at 700,000, because that market was
Yeah.
doing that. So we did like back-to-back years at like 139, 140 million in volume where we had 3.9 GCI, but I was netting 2.4 and, big, huge numbers. But at the time it was me doing a major portion of the production, 2 other buyers agents and 3 staff. So we ran super lean, but that same kind of mindset, same kind of thought process and all of this still remains the same. So we run a pretty lean operation. We're super prospecting driven. We're prospecting based, marketing enhanced. So we don't spend a ton of money on a lot of things as far as the shiny objects.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our businesses are a lot alike. I think we came from the old school, Mike Ferry of just prospecting and making the phone calls and highly profitable business, just, prospecting based. So I respect that
Yeah,
for sure. So Jeff, one thing that I know a lot of people out there will wonder, right? And I get asked this question all the time, with the size of my team and what we do too. You know, the question always is, if it was so profitable back in the day, and we took home the lion's share of the profit, why build the team? Why go through the exercise of managing people and dealing with the headache of staff? Why not just go back into production and net yourself $2.5 million?
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always a question. I guess it's what direction do you want to go? I think that the answer to that simply with the shift for me has been, number one is I've been doing it 26 years.
Yeah.
I don't really want to ever go on a listing appointment ever again.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me be honest with you. Like, do I have the desire to go out and list and make a deal? Sure, I love the deal. I like the thrill of the deal, and I'm all about it. And I'll go out and kill it in the listing appointment today. But I think that there's a difference. There's a difference between having a job and having a business. And I went from having a job that was completely built, basically around me, instead of me having a team that I can help build around them. And it used to be me, me, me. The moment I went on vacation for 2 weeks, my phone would still ring off the hook. I never have a life, never have a job, and I was tied to it when I came back. That that moment, that time, that month would be way down because if I wasn't there, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So the business shift because that was a job. So I decided, I want to get from being a job to a business and scale this thing to a much larger way. Now, I still work the same number of hours. It's just a different way that I'm working, and I have different streams of income, and I'm able to work on this business versus in it, and then I'm able to have a little bit more, I guess, freedom as far as time and be able to choose to do different things easier and more often. And then also, I think that I've noticed that I was being selfish by not pouring into people of all of my knowledge I've had for so many years, and now I can help. I can help grow through others and grow through people, just like Gary's taught us. Success through others. So
Yeah.
it just for me, it just became a little bit more different desire, and then ultimately, my time is now spent, building something bigger that I know I can get to 10 million GCI, and then ultimately I can now, be able to scale this to get myself to a $3 to $4 million net versus right now. Before, when I was in it, I was maxed. I didn't have enough time to build it. I couldn't have, you and I doing 200 deals like we used to do or used to do, and if you're doing 120 of them yourself, you're working 80 hours a week and you're still doing 120 deals. Like there's no more time to go grow it,
Yeah.
But now we have different opportunities. Like you and I right now, we have time to pour back into the community, pour back into the real estate world, share with what we're up to. And like the conversation I had before I got on this call was about completely building a software system for my guy to build out like a contactually type of business
Yeah.
or software system that we're working to build on because there's a demand for a certain thing I'm looking at and there's no one out that has it. And I'm like, you know what? I can't find it. So why don't I go build it? So that's a whole other conversation I was having with a gal from Seattle and a guy that lives in Arizona that's going to build this for us. So there's other things I'm now able to do that allows me to do it. So to answer your question, why did I decide I could be a real estate agent with a job or I could be an entrepreneur with businesses?
Yeah, that makes total sense. It's tough to be tough to design software and be on those calls when you're running to back listing appointments. That was the same struggle I had was, how do you work on the business instead of in it? And once I made that transition, we grew, 300%. And, I definitely see where you're going with it. Jeff, so talking about the expansion, your team, talking about, a lot of what you're doing, how many people are on your team right now? How many team members do you have?
So currently right now, I think we're at 13 or 14. We've got about, and that's with 4 admin. We have 8 that are in production, 2 new agents that just joined us, another one that's joined us literally signed on, but waiting till her kids go back to school, so like by next couple of days, coming on. And she's a veteran agent, which is cool. So right now, we've got 13 or 14, with really 8 in production itself, 2 more that are new that are just about ready to launch in production. So it's still running as a smaller team, for what we've got so far. And of that, I've got basically three agents that are super like really good, and there's the other five that are newer to the business that they're just getting up and running, getting started. So the growth for them will really hit in the next probably 18 to 2 years, 24 months to really see them really start to hit. So I can see our growth with them, just starting to go.
That's
You know.
incredible production. 8 agents at your level of business. I mean, that's good production per agent.
Oh yeah, sure. No, no. I mean, our average agents right now. I mean, I don't know what that comes out. It's like 40 or whatever it is. Deals per agent.
That's
Ultimately,
that's great.
per agent productivity. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Jeff, talk to us about what your primary function is within the team, because you're not going on listing appointments anymore, are you?
No, not no. I mean, very rarely. I mean, I'll go on something that David needs help on, or high end or past client or something like that where I need to be involved. I'll still go out and I'm still, I'll still do that. But in my day to day function, I mean, I haven't been on one in a long time. Ultimately. My main function right now, or my specific, I mean, I'm wearing a few hats. I'm wearing a lot of hats. I'm looking for positions right now to fill these hats. So I'm still coaching, mentoring, training the team itself. I'm the expansion director currently. So I'm having conversations with expansion partners and location leaders and so forth that I'm trying to get to. So I am involved in that. Um, I, um, I am involved in the recruiting side. That's my primary function, and I work with Scott on our team, who's our COO, and make sure the system's in place. And ultimately, I'm the visionary, and he's the integrator. From the old Rocket Fuel book.
Yeah.
And that's my job is to go out and learn and read a bunch and spend a lot of my time reading and studying other companies and other things people are doing, so that we can really scale this. And most of my day is with 411s with my team, coaching them, and then having conversations with other partners to come on as recruiting them to the team.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely filling the role of small business owner. You're running around doing a lot of different things. I mean, your plate's pretty busy. What does your day to day look like within the team? From the time Jeff wakes up in the morning. I mean, what does your day to day look like?
Sure. So since we're on Zoom right now, I can just give you a really quick, if you want to see, and not that you can see it, but this is what my schedule looks like right now for the
Wow.
day. And then I'll just give you an example of what Wednesday will look like. So, Wednesday itself, you can see every single minute of the hour. So to give you an example, other than, starting at 8:15, we have a huddle call, but the very first call that I have is 10 o'clock is expansion partner. I have a 12 o'clock one-on-one, 12:30 one-on-one, Joe Sweeney at 12:30 one-on-one. I have a video shoot that I'm doing at a business at 2 o'clock, which I'll explain what I'm doing there. I have an expansion director call, this gal down in Sarasota. She's at 3 o'clock. I've got a 60-minute, here's another call with another expansion partner. So I'm on the phone. So my day's broken up of 1, 2, 3 recruits for the team. Of that, one's an expansion director, one's an expansion partner, one's local for the hub. And then of that, I've got 1, 2, 3, also 3 401s with my agents on my team. And then a video shoot. The video shoot's a business that we're doing. We've started a little TV show called Business Spotlight. We go out and we film different businesses and feature them, and it's a pretty cool thing. And we go social media. And our goal is to become like the local celebrity in the area and become an act and a social media ninja with all that we're doing on this business spotlight stuff. So pretty cool.
Wow, that's
Um,
very, very cool. That's very cool.
yeah, it's pretty wild. You can check it out if you ever want to check it out. Go to the QuintinGroup.tv. That's our TV show line. The QuintinGroup.tv. It's pretty cool, and you can see some of the ones that we're doing. Like our very first one, we launched on August 8th, and then already as of yesterday, there's like maybe almost 9,000 views, from it, which is pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
incredible exposure.
So yeah, for sure. So we got about 5 businesses we already did. One I have tomorrow. Anyway, so that's part of that's part of where I can go out now and do these things, work on the business, help grow. As a byproduct, become the celebrity to help brand awareness and so forth. So anyway, that's kind of like what my day to day looks like as far as there. The very first thing we have to share with you as far as on the team side, every morning at 8:15, we have a huddle call. Everyone dials into a line. There's 3 things we talk about. Where's your goal for the month? Where are you in relationship to that goal? And then what is your goal for the day? And they're going to report to us like 30 contacts, 2 appointments, 1 reduction, whatever. And then we're going to go right through every agent. And then basically from there, all the agents are required to have role play partners. They should be jumping on the call at 8:30. if they're not practicing. And then Wednesdays, like tomorrow, I actually do a role play session with my team. Those that don't have a partner, I stay on the call. And that's all recorded from 8:30 to 9. And then basically from 9 o'clock on is when all the rest of my day starts as far as working on the business and projects and things like that. Like this morning, I'm just giving you an example of what I'm working on. But this morning I built out I built out 9 of 12 email drip campaign through Infusionsoft on a recruiting campaign for expansion partners, and with different videos and triggers inside the videos and all that kind of stuff. So I built all that out this morning.
Wow.
And then I sent to my guy that will implement it all. So I'm working on the business and things like that all the time.
Great. Right. I was going to say, you're a smart guy if you can figure out how to build out those drip campaigns in Infusionsoft. I had it for about 6 months and I couldn't figure the thing out. I had to give it back.
Yeah, man. I have no idea how to put. Here's what I do. I take my phone. I'm gonna give you a little scoop. What I do. I take my phone, right, and I put it on the notes part.
Yeah.
Right. And let's see if I can even show you. Yeah, it says expansion recruiting campaign. Right here it is.
Yeah.
I take it. I see. I don't know if you can see this right now. Right.
Oh yeah.
So all I do is I take the phone. I hit the Siri button on it, and I talk to it, and I just completely dictate email number 1, reference to email campaign, and then I'll just go right into it. Like it'll say hello, insert first name. One of the most important items when joining a team as an expansion partner is the first 100 days. And I'll just go on and on and on and explain what's going on, and I record it on here, and then I'll say insert this video clip. It'll say please click here to watch below. Gary talk about expansion, how it affects market centers. There's the YouTube video, right? I'll go ahead and get YouTube and put it in there. And then I just take all this, I send it to my guy and say, put this in Infusionsoft and build the campaign out, have it run, every 30 days at 8:30 on a Wednesday. And then he sends it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
very, very, very smart. Very nice. So Jeff, you talked about, your schedule and a lot of the calls that you have. I mean, you're on a lot of recruiting calls. How, I guess, in building the team, how are you finding your team members? What are you doing to identify potential people to join, the Jeff Quintin team? Or if anybody out there's listening in an expansion market or in another market, how do you find them? How does somebody find you?
So there's a couple of things that I'm doing. I mean, obviously with the KW world, I'm able to be exposed to, we just came back from Mega Camp, different events, and then ultimately I connect with all the team leaders in all the offices that are recruiting already, and then I pour into them and I teach at their market centers. Like I've got to go teach on September 19th. I'm on a panel in Southern Florida on October, 14th or whatever it is. The region asked me to come down there, and I go and speak at those different events. So I'm always putting my time back there, and then as a byproduct, people will reach out and say, hey, I know you're expanding here. Let's get in conversation. With that, having a podcast like this, where you're interviewing me and we're talking, having dialogue, this will be attractive for some people. That's number one. So working through team leaders is one. I this morning, I in the Philadelphia market, as I mentioned to you, I pulled in a list. This is something I worked on this morning as well. I already had the list, but there's about 600 agents in the Philadelphia market that were like maybe 2 and 4 million, between like 8 and 12 transactions. I saw the list. And I just said, okay, they're not with KW, they're outside brokerages. I took that, I wrote a little email, I sent it to my VA and said, okay, I want to write this email with these attachments. I want you to go in one by one and send this to every one of these agents, and blah blah blah. So I did that this morning, for example. So I'll go in and I'll go into the MLS and pull in regular rosters of people who are there, of other brokerages, and prospect them. We put them in drip campaigns specifically for that. When I went to Mega Camp this past just a couple weeks ago in August, I reached out to a bunch of team leaders, and I hosted a little happy hour event from 4 to 6, invited them all to come there and got them all in one area. And there was about maybe 20 that showed up, and I had packets for them. In fact, I still got them right here because I thought maybe more people would come, but here's the packet. And one of the things I'm providing right now is what we call the golden handoff. I don't know if you've read that book yet. But
no,
it's
I
a pretty
haven't.
Killer book. Yeah, so Golden Handoff, a guy named Nick Crowder came up with it, but I call it the Q Golden Handoff.
He's in Portland.
Oh, yeah, he is. That's right, he is. Yeah, for sure, exactly. And so ultimately, it's just a value proposition to team leaders and for agents exiting the business or looking to retire, that we've come up with a plan to go to them and say, hey, look, if you're looking to get out of the business, retire at some point, we want to be the team that will adopt your business and come up with an exit strategy for you to receive income, as you leave the business. So anyway, I presented that little thing to 20 different team leaders from all around the country, and then so I get together and try to promote what we're up to.
Networking. That's a good
Yeah.
way to do it. So Jeff, you've been successful at building the team. What's been some of your biggest challenges, in getting this thing built out and kind of expanding into these new markets? What do you think, maybe your top couple challenges have been?
Always hiring the right staff, the right people, making the right hires, surrounding right around the right people. Because I made some mistakes there. I mean, I thought I was a hot shot maybe a couple years ago, and I wanted to hire, a COO, and I made the wrong one, and that one actually put a wedge between me, my vision, and some of the salespeople on my team, and the admin kind of went weird, wasn't in alignment. So that went on for about maybe 6 to 9 months, and I had to start over there. I had to, get back in that position. That set me back a little bit. Lost a team member after 8 years on my team. Went somewhere else, and I take full responsibility for it. But
Sure.
yet the bad hire that I made, kind of like, it's kind of like making a bad hire, and then what your vision is, they're like, no, don't listen to him. But let's figure this thing out our own way, kind of thing. And so bad hire there, number one. Some of the other challenge was, um, you know, getting out of the production side is a challenge. Like, how are you going to find that right person?
Yeah.
How do you, if you're the guy that's running a lot of it, doing 100 of the 200 deals a year, 120 of the 100 deals a year, that's 10 deals a month or 15 deals a month. How do you find that right person? So taking the time, making sure they find the right hire, and then training that person, and then going through that process that you can now completely let all that go. That's been some of the challenge. I hired an expansion director this past year in June. Went through that process and came back from February from family reunion. She decided that, I'm going to go start my own business, and if I don't do it, I'll regret it. And so spent a lot of time thinking I had the right person to help grow this thing. So
Yeah.
I got that job back. So it's been one of those things like, man, like, okay, 2 steps forward, you think you're okay, I got all the right people, and then shit, all of a sudden, boom, something happens, and then 1 step back,
Yeah.
and then keep going again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we made a right hire. We made a really good hire this year with Scott. He's an executive from BlackRock that came in, started with us in
Oh,
December.
nice.
Yeah, he's a 15-year executive guy from there that learns and knows how to scale and help put a lot of systems together. He's that integrator kind of role. So the challenge is to find the right people and find the right one.
People are always the challenge for any business, even in what I've done here or other businesses that we've owned, it all starts with the people. If you don't have the right people, it's tough to build.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a whole skill. It's a whole different skill, isn't it? Like learning, because some people look like they're awesome,
Yeah.
but until you get them in that role, you never know, man.
You never know.
You got to really vet them. You got to really go through that process.
I always tell our director of sales and our operations managers, I always tell them this, when somebody's coming in to the organization, when somebody's coming in because they want a position or they want a job or they want to be an agent, they're giving us a sales pitch. It's our job to poke holes in that and figure out, what the truth is. And then, what fluff are they selling us on the other hand, right? So it's kind of like you almost have to go into those meetings understanding that I'm going to get a sales pitch. It's my job to poke holes and figure out, what's true and what's kind of the fluff that they're selling me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right.
So Jeff, if you had to go back, and start your team all over again, right? 24 years ago, you said 24 years you've been in the business?
6, yeah.
26.
26, yeah.
Man, 26 years ago, if you had to go back and start it all over again, what would you do different?
Well, what's interesting? Being in the business this long, when I came to KW, what I'm up to now, I feel like I'm starting all over again.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I mean, some people might say, "Oh man, you're at the end of your career." Like, dude, I'm not, man. I'm just getting started. Like, because the way we used to do business, the way I'm doing it now is completely different. What I've done differently, I would have, I always thought of I was always a real estate agent. My mindset, I didn't know really I always said that, well, you have your own business and all that kind of stuff, but I never treated it really like my own business.
Sure.
And that was a lot of it, I think, had to do with the surroundings I was in, and the coaching programs I was in, and just the company I was in, and It just was very company driven, not so much agent driven, and just the environment. So changing the environment to a business entrepreneurial type of thinking. I would have went to Tony Robbins a long time ago. Went
Yeah.
to Tony Robbins business mastery course a couple years ago, and that really hit home between what he's talking about between being an artist or between like what Mike Gerber talks about as a technician or a business owner. Um, I looked at it and treated it more of a business and understood that's what this is. Even if you work inside of another brokerage or you don't need to be independent or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I would have leveraged myself in the beginning more and poured into becoming more of a leader, poured into others, help develop others, be more of a coaching and personal development kind of business disguised in real estate. That's what we are now. And I think that becomes more attractive, and I would have been able to grow a lot faster. I mean, you look at these guys now that are in the business 4 or 5 years, they're kicking my ass. You know what I mean? And a lot of us out
Yeah.
there,
Oh yeah.
I mean, in a short period of time, you're like, holy crap. The technology is available to them. And if they treat it, it's amazing. If they treat it like a real business, they can do that. They can accelerate. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to, figure that whole part out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The business environment that we're in real estate now is really gearing people towards running a business. And, a lot of these guys, I mean, like you said, they're getting there so much faster than we did. And it's incredible seeing some of the stats and the numbers that they're putting up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, I look at it now like, you know, you know, we hit 300 this year. We can hit 700 next year. Like we can do that now. And then 1,000 the following year. Whereas my mindset before 1,000 deals, you kidding me?
yeah,
Like that, first of all, it was unheard of, right? Like, well, look back in the day, if you did 100 transactions, you were an absolute rock star. Like you were the shit. No, like that was it.
that
Like
was
if you
10
did, that
years
was like
ago. That
unheard
wasn't
of.
even that long ago. That was 10 years ago.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And now there's dudes, gals. Hey, how long you been in business? Oh, I started 2 years ago, and they're doing 125 deals. Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, okay, geez, all right. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, getting all of a sudden 1,000 mark, 2,000 mark, 3,000 mark, 5,000 transactions, 10,000 transactions, a few billion in volume. That's You can do that. Like you can scale, you can move quick now. You
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely. It's amazing how the business has changed in a short period of time. So Jeff, advice that you have for agents, looking to build a team, what advice would you give to a guy who's out there like we were, right? Prospecting machines, picking up the phone, banging the phone, setting appointments. Maybe they got a buyer's agent. What advice would you give somebody looking to get to where Jeff Quintin is today?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, we see great teams out there succeed. We see a ton of teams fail. We see a ton of teams that say they're a team and they're not a team. We see agents start out that have only sold 10 houses over 3 years, and now they call themselves XYZ Group, and they have
Yeah.
a team,
Yeah.
right? And they don't have shit,
Yeah.
right? Be honest with you, it's not a team,
That's it.
and they
We
don't,
have a
and they
lot.
have no idea. They have no idea how to build a team. I mean, why do teams fail? I guess a couple of things. And if you're going to get involved, I think that first of all, the team leader itself has to have a certain amount of success, a certain amount of transactions, a certain amount of
Credibility.
experience, credibility, experience. Exactly. So unless you've already done, in my opinion, unless you've already sold at least 100 homes, over a period of time, at least that. I mean, you can't say you can go start to build a team. So you got to start to build that up. You know, once you get to a place, if you're doing 30 to 40 transactions, add an assistant. Do another. Maybe with the assistant, you get yourself up to 80 transactions. Okay, now maybe you get a buyer's agent. Then you start to build from here. There's a systematic way to start building a team instead of just coming out selling 10 homes in 1 year and then say, okay, I'm going to go hire 3 buyer's agents. There's that type of that doesn't work. So one is, I think you have to have a certain amount of experience to start building a team. 2, if you're going to build a team, understand what your mission is, your vision, your values. Understand that if you're going to do this, what type of accountability, what type of leadership you're going to insert inside of what you're going to do. I think that, teams today, many of them are promising leads, which, leading with leads can be the death of you, especially in a shifting market, because you're going to start to spend a ton of money. I see too many people, teams come in and they say, oh yeah, I got all these leads for you. Let me go spend $3,000 more on Zillow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the market shifts. They still have to spend the three, and then their agents are always relying on you to feed them leads. Not that we don't give leads, we give leads to our team, but that's not our value proposition, off the bat. So I think there's some fundamental things we could spend a whole hour on,
Yeah.
how to build a team or what would be right or what advice to give. I know the biggest thing I think is that if you're going to build a team, let you be the one that experiences it first and goes through the levels that needed, and then you're going to have sustainability even in the tough times of the shift. And I can tell you, I've been through like 3 or 4 shifts, in the last 26 years, and we've sold over 4,000 homes. So, from I sold in 1998. I sold before I got my first assistant. I sold 83 homes that year, and this is in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And then once I got my first assistant, I went from like 83 to 120 or whatever it was. That was like in the very early 2000s, and then went from there. But there was from say 2000 to today. We've always even in the bad times we sold 150 units, like 175 units on average every year. Every year over time. We have consistent, sustained predictability, and that's where that comes in, that you can sustain, because we've seen too many teams come and go.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny, Jeff. I always say, just because you're a good realtor doesn't mean you should own a business. We have a ton of that, at least in my market. We have a ton of that. These guys and gals and whoever, they go out there and they try to start hiring a ton of agents. And, you pull up their production and they're selling, 50 homes a year, 30 homes a year. And it's one, you can't make any money doing that. And two, you're not making anybody better. You're not making anybody better. The market shifts. You're all going to go out of business, and you're not really doing anybody a service. So, I agree with you 1,000% on that one. It's pretty prevalent out in my market, especially.
Yeah, everybody wants to look. Let me tell you what. Okay, so the question was, if I was to do it all over again, what would I do? If I was doing it all over again, be honest with you, and I'll tell you this right now.
Yeah.
If I was to get back in the real estate business today, I wouldn't start a team. I would go work on a team.
Yeah.
I go find the top agent. I go find the top agent in my marketplace. I go find you, and be like, Aaron, what do you got for me, man? I'm hungry. Is there an opportunity for me here? I would love to build a team. You've already built it. How can I accelerate? How can I make money? How can we do this in such ways together? Is there growth for me? And hopefully, as you already have, and I have, is a growth path for somebody that can start as an ISA. They can become an agent. They can make $100,000 in a couple of years or 2 years. That's the plan in place. They go from 24 deals to 36 to 60. They can build a team underneath them on our team. We give them a growth plan where they can just accelerate all the way up through to become CEO and take my role.
Yeah.
Right. And if there's a team out there like that, go on a team where there's a team leader that's driving the vision, and stick with them, because they can help you get there quicker and faster than all the shit that you and I've been through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we've built it, but it's like I would consider the number one team, go work for that guy or that gal, learn as much as you can. If there's no growth path, then you jet and you go start your own.
Absolutely. It's
but I mean,
it's taking somebody's got to humble themselves to do that. Right. And it's interesting because we interview here daily, for new agents to join the team, and we have people that come in, and it's you got to humble yourself to join the team, or to think that, you might need somebody to help you get to where you want to go. And it's the best advice that I always have for people is, humble yourself, understand that, you need to learn before you can lead.
Yeah, no, for sure. And these teams all all look at it and say, well, I got all these agents, but the reality is, like we talked about in the beginning, is what's their real net profit?
Yeah.
Right. Like, most of these teams a lot of them don't make any money. They're not profitable at all the profit is nothing but the agent that's driving it. Like they make $100,000 net. Well, the $100,000 net's all the deals that they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. But everything else is all based upon ego, all based upon wanting to know their rankings, all based upon I'm number one because I've got this huge team, but per agent productivity per team, they're all doing 4 deals. That's it.
Yeah.
But then the rainmaker's doing 80, so it's not as all as sexy I think that some people make it to be. But I think that without a doubt, I think you'd agree, this team concept is not going away. The teams are getting larger and bigger. The
Yeah.
brokerages themselves are not providing value. The team owners and team like us, we're providing more value than the brokerages are. We're becoming more and more attractive. And, I think that they're, looking at this business 2, 3, 4, 5 years out, teams are only going to get larger and bigger. Independent agents going to start be forced to join a team in a certain way,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So Jeff, the next 24 months, what is your business going to look like in the next 24 months?
At least region one will be built out, so that we have the 40 expansion partners. However that looks, however that shows up, I don't know. But ultimately, we want to get expansion itself up and running. Hub's got to be doing 300 transactions. Expansion needs to be doing 4. And we're hitting the 700 transaction goal. Kind of just like the realistic, what I can see, here it is. Here's the growth plan to put this in place, is what 24 months looks like. And
Awesome.
inside of that, there's all kinds of different layers of leadership that I've got to put in place to manage and grow this sucker.
Well, you'll get there, brother. I know you will.
Yeah, man. Hey, I just got to follow your path, man.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you being here today. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you taking the time today. Anybody out there listening, if you have referrals for Philly, the Jersey coast, right? Ocean City area, give this guy a call. I know a lot of realtors out there. There's nobody better than this guy. He'll take care of your clients. You're looking to join a super team, call this guy. He can teach you a lot. He's expanding into other markets. Jeff, if anybody wants to get a hold of you to refer you business, or they want to join your team, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so 2 things. Either through Facebook Messenger, Jeff Quintin, or you can always email me, jeff@thequintingroup.com. That's Quintin, thequintingroup.com.
Awesome. Thanks again for being here, Jeff.
Yeah, man. Appreciate having me. Thanks so much.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron.